The session is being live streamed and recorded, so if you have questions or comments during the session, you may send tweets to at OpenSimCC with the hashtag pound OSCC25. Welcome everyone, and let's begin the session.
Thank you, Creata, and good morning, OSCC. I am going to talk today about AI-driven case study characters, and I have a second set of slides that I'm broadcasting via Mentimeter. And you go to menti.com and use the code 99019867. And I put that in the chat in case you want a quicker rizzing version of the slides. And today I'm going to talk about the background for what got me to the point of using AI characters, and then the AI characters that I used in Second Life successfully. Then the sudden pause in the AI characters that led me to figure out a way to simulate AI characters. So that's where we're at, and let's get started. Let me go. As a bit of background, prior to Second Life introducing their Convai characters, I had been successfully using 3D illustrations. That is, I turned 3 slides in each of the classes that I'm teaching into 3D virtual world displays. And then to keep students from having to spend the time and energy learning about how to go into virtual worlds, doing class time webinar sessions, I would screen share my viewer, and I had a tremendous result from students who found the slides, the 3D illustrations, to be significantly more engaging than PowerPoint slides. Still, there were a chunk of students, 23%, that found the 3D illustrations to be less engaging. And so this is what motivated me to start running a second set of regular PowerPoint slides through Mentimeter to address students that find the 3D illustrations to be information overload. But for me, teaching online, a 65% approval rating for something, or to find the 3D illustrations to be that much more engaging, is a big development. I can't get students to agree to anything. Um, so the way the characters were developed in Second Life, we had the option of inputting a backstory of up to 10,000 characters, or about 6 pages of information about each of the characters. We specified the speaking style and then provided 3 examples of questions and answers that the characters might ask, and might answer, might be asked of the characters, and how they would answer. The feedback or the interaction from the characters was text only. However, the Second Life at the start of this experiment or beta version told me that they had plans to deploy the voice chat, which really would have been brilliant. And what I've got in red on the screen now is what I think is a major new affordance of AI applications in virtual worlds, and that's the ability to deploy multiple characters, AI characters, at the same time. If you've ever been on a website and a chatbot, opens up, "Can I help you?" Whether it's just a text box or a avatar, there's only one at a time. But in virtual worlds, we can use more than one at a time. Um, and the way this worked for me, I already had different case studies set up in my virtual islands. And what I had was mannequin avatars taking the place of the key characters. My avatar is Avatar A. I just slipped in B, the case study avatar, and then the rest of these characters are mannequin characters. Um, There was also a choice of different, large language models to use. Now, I'm not sure there was this expansive a choice in Second Life. There was at least 5 or 6. It turns out this beta was canceled, and I didn't they gave us a month notice, but of course, I could predict, I didn't find out about the cancellation until a week after my avatars disappeared, but that's okay. But anyway, what I wanted to share with you is all of the LLM choices that are available through Convai. And again, Convai was the partner with SL that provided the avatars in Second Life. And this is the big reveal, which is that isolating my student uh, feedback for just the AI-driven characters, I garnered an even higher approval rating. Out of a sample size of 75, 73% found the AI characters to be more engaging than traditional PowerPoint illustrations. And in keeping with that, a smaller group found it less engaging. So that was an exciting development. Then, as luck would have it, these AI characters through Convey were canceled after a little more than an 8-month trial. The stated reason for the pause was to evaluate the next steps and to refine Second Life's long term AI strategy. And unfortunately, there's no indication or commitment for when the AI characters will be reintroduced in Second Life. Again, I found out about this a week after the characters were no longer available. And in the midst of the fall semester, when I had this activity built into my courses and webinars, but, since I was in kind of a pickle, I was motivated to find a solution, and it turned out to be really easy. Again, I deployed, some of my mannequin avatars, replaced, the characters that, I was intending to, riz, during a given webinar, and then I encased them in clear boxes and used a note card reader script to simulate the conversations. I had copied the conversations that had been generated. I was so impressed with the quality of the content that came back after I gave the characters a backstory and some sample questions and answers that I kept a copy of it. Thank goodness. And let me go on to the next slide here. And looking at the pros and cons of this, um, the characters, I could entitle the blocks with the character's name. So unlike in Second Life, where it's really difficult to get a unique name for your character, your avatar, I could have the exact name that became the box. Um, and also, I didn't have any possibility of the conversations being unvetted or the content coming back erroneous because I had programmed the content. Now, most of the time, students just sort of like to have the class sessions, the webinar sessions flow over them versus being that involved. But the big con is that if students want to interact with the characters, it's going to be a little more cumbersome to set up a separate chat bot that I could then input into the text conversation. But in general, it worked great. But the Second Life characters work great too. My next experiments are going to be with actual avatars. There's no reason why I can't still create avatars and encase them in the invisible boxes, and that way they'll look a little more realistic. Shift their weight and things like that. Another alternative is to find some animesh characters or build some. And then I'm hoping to start to use this AI Talkmaster. That was such a fabulous presentation yesterday and shows a lot of promise for these AI characters. Um, I thought that the AI characters in Second Life worked remarkably well, and I hope that they'll be unpaused. Of course, just the test alone, the offering of the AI characters for 8 months, not only gave me the idea to delve into this, but also made my simulated versions more believable. While I have been making as much noise as possible to try to get Second Life to provide us with voice-enabled characters, now that they've taken away the text-enabled characters, I'd be willing to settle for the text enabled characters alone. But the bottom line is that I hope SL and everyone understands that this is like a major new affordance for virtual worlds to be able to enact and set up AI-driven characters and multiple characters. That's my hope. But once again, as usual, OpenSim is probably going to come to the rescue of of all of this. If you haven't, this is a lanyap item or an extra item. If you haven't experimented with the Convay characters, I recommend doing so. It is really quite a extraordinary app. Unfortunately, the paid subscriptions to it are quite pricey, but they do offer a free trial. And to give you an idea of just how splendid it is, not only, do the characters talk, but voice enabled, but you can set up your character's personality using the big five personality traits, and you can set up your character's mood. So it is, pretty breathtaking. Um, that it concludes my prepared remarks. I hope that some in the audience might be free tomorrow at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time for our annual educator meetup on the OSCC Grid Expo Zone 3. We've been doing this for a number of years, and yesterday you heard about the brilliant Virtual World Education Consortium that has lots of planned activities and presentations, speaker presentations. This is nothing like that. This is very informal and a lot of fun. So I hope to see you there. And also, this coming year, I have big plans to renovate the Educator Emporium in the OS grid. But, if you're new to virtual worlds, you might find a few educator tools in the Educator Emporium. And I'll leave it at that. Back to you.
Okay, we do have one question that's come in. I know you have a few minutes for questions. Lisa Laxton asks if you did any personality development or knowledge-based training on the characters that you created.
I didn't do any personality development because it wasn't an option in the Second Life avatars. It is an option in the Convery avatars. Also, in Second Life, I was limited to 10,000 words or about 6 pages, but I didn't take advantage of all of that. I think when you say knowledge base, you're thinking of like Claude or what is the Google Notebook where you can upload like 5 or 6 documents and have somebody have your avatar use that information to respond. But now that you mention it, you remind me one of the avatars, the characters I set up was an Affordable Care Act specialist, And she was something because, I did give her all of the, different aspects of the legislation, all of the features of the legislation, and she responded quite well. But, after 2 semesters, she decided she was teaching my course as opposed to being an assistant to me. So, that was just a slightly, alarming. But again, Second Life pulled the plug on her, so she's no longer taking over my course. Lisa, did that answer your question?
While waiting to see if she follows up, I do have one from Lear because we're getting a little bit on time, but let's see if we can fit this in. Lear is doing a follow-up asking if you're providing the training material for these characters and not pre-assigned knowledge bases.
Um I personally am not at the moment because it's no longer an option in Second Life. Although I could, if anybody needs a note card reader script, I mean, all you have to do is take one of your characters, either live or mannequin, at encase it in a box. Give it the name of your character and then put a note reader script in it, and you're good to go to simulate conversations.
Okay, was it required which specific Gen AI tools were mapped to those characters, or did you get any choice?
I got a choice. In Second Life, they gave us at least 5 different LLMs to choose from, and as far as I could tell, you only selected one at a time. And I didn't experiment with the different characters, the different LLMs, even though I do experiment. If I'm looking for some information, I set up a few different LLMs, in browser windows. So, and I see that there's one from Roxy. Are you planning to try this on OpenSim like Kitely or Wolf Terrains? It would be easy to do. Again, to simulate an interaction with a character is a piece of cake anywhere. And it seems like OpenSim is light years ahead of Second Life now with this new AI Talkmaster. And I hate to call him out, but I was trying to strong arm Austin to write one of his fabulous blogs about using AI Talkmaster. So maybe we'll all get some information real soon.
It also sounds like meeting up with you tomorrow at the event that you announced would be a great way to continue this conversation. We're coming up on time for this presentation, so thank you, Kay McLennan, for an informative and interesting presentation. As a
Thank you.
reminder to our audience, you will want to check out the conference.opensimulator.org to see what is coming up on the conference schedule. You won't want to miss our next session, which will begin at 7:30 a.m. right here in this keynote region and is entitled Cultivate, Collaborate, Celebrate, and Innovate. Also, we encourage you to visit the OSCC 25 Poster Expo in the OSCC Expo 3 region to find accompanying information on presentations and explore the Hypergrid Tour resources in the OSCC Expo 2 region, along with sponsor and crowdfunder booths that are located throughout all of the OSCC Expo regions. Thank you again to our speakers and to our audience.